What is up, Wretched Nation? It is my last day with the Road Queen, so let's review it. Alright, when I refer to the Road Queen, this is a 2012 Dyna Switchback. A very weird Dyna. Most people don't like it. So, let's talk about it. It's got a 103 engine, 6-speed. This is outfitted with a 2-in-1 exhaust with a Vance & Hines muffler. Pretty certain stock exhaust with just a Vance & Hines slip-on. It does have a Screaming Eagle air breather upgrade. It comes with this windshield, quick release. Comes with bags. These are very particular bags. It is just for the Dyna Switchback, and I hate them, but we'll get into that a little more. Pretty basic Dyna / bagger front end, or rear end, excuse me. A nice comfy seat, I will say. As far as comfort goes, this stock seat, very nice. Squishy forward controls. Now this one has this crash bar. Not really sure where it came from, because it's U-bolted on, and I think it's bolted up top. So not too great, but that's what it came with when we bought it. This was Elizabeth's bike, but she has tried, she has learned. She doesn't think she's going to ride, so while she did learn how to do it, and it is sad, it is going to get passed on. We're going to take it to a shop to get sold tomorrow. So let's talk about this particular bike. Pretty good bike. This one in particular, someone kind of dented up the shocks a little bit. It is very low, very low. It is a Dyna frame with a touring front end. This is a touring front end. It is a weird bastard bike. You have a Dyna frame, Dyna engine, rear suspension, all that jazz. You got what feels of the floorboards of a bagger, and you have this huge Road King-esque front end. Some odd wheels. They're very it reminds me of the torque thrust wheels on a hot rod back in the day, but this is not a hot rod at all. Harley put 3 different styles of bikes together on this one. It was way ahead of its time. Nowadays it's all about sport touring, and technically that's kind of what this bike was. It is the beginning of that sport touring style. They just didn't hit the mark. You can get these bikes super cheap. Aftermarket support's a little weak, but you can make this bike a really cool bike. For the ladies and short people, I think it's a great bike. The seat height is very low, comfortable. Like I said, seating position, I love it. Very comfortable. Definitely would change out these squishy pads. I know it's meant to take up the vibration, but that is just terrible. And the bars, also, these are stock. Absolutely terrible. I mean, look at the position, trying to get everything in frame. Look at the position of those hands. It is just swooping way down. Those are terrible bars. But hey, they didn't know what they were making with this bike. Do I think it's a terrible bike? No, I don't think it's that bad. I think it has its place, but unfortunately it's one of those very select few places. Personally, I think it's for maybe a smaller person, maybe a woman, or maybe someone who's just shorter, very skinny maybe, and has a harder time with a little bit heavier bikes, but want something that's a little more solid and is going to tour a little better without getting a full touring frame, I will say, if you want to get a very high caliber of bike, when I say like capabilities and quality at a cheap price, then that's it right there. I think it's really good for that. But the worst part about this bike, and unfortunately is like a big reason why people like it, is it comes with these factory bags, but they're terrible. Let me show you why. So it's hard to see, but the bag slides forward there, there, and up there. I know it's getting dark, but like I said, we're trading in this bike tomorrow, so this is all I got. The only thing that locks this bike on is this right here, this little switch. And all it does is just put a stop in between this back part so the bag can't slide off. So if this is not latched in 100% or rattles loose or falls or any type of thing, and it shouldn't, but if it does, your bag's flying off. Ask me how I know. This bike is already supposed to be gone. Halfway to work the day I was taking it to the shop, the bag flew off. Terrible. Scratched it up really bad. Luckily didn't break anything. I got my buddy to paint it, got it fixed, got it put back together, and now we're gonna take it up tomorrow. But those bags, it is a common problem. You Google this bike, and that's what's gonna come up in the forums. Bags flying off, bags falling off, how to keep them on there. I think they did a revision. I don't know if that's the revision, but I know when they first come out, it plagued this bike. So that is like the #1 problem, and kind of a big selling point for this bike is these bags. It's a Dyna touring front end bags. I think there's some of the best looking and position bags on the Dyna frame, hard bags anyways, because you have to contend with the front shock here, and you don't want it to really go past the back fender here. So they fit the bike, but they are a pain in the butt to use because it's the earlier like flip style that's just terrible, and they fall off. So there's not a whole lot good to say about that. And of course, they're a one model only bag. You cannot find those. If you want a good set of these, you're probably paying $1,500 aftermarket, and they're probably still scratched up. But nonetheless, I still think this is a decent bike if you can get it really, really cheap. If you're paying anywhere between $5,000 and $6,500 for a very clean example, I think you're doing just fine. But before we end the video, let's turn this thing on, crank it up, and you can hear it. It is all up to the beholder to decide if this is a good bike or not. I don't think it's terrible if you get it really cheap and it's a good example. Call it the Road Queen, call it whatever you want. It is what it is. Dyna Switchback turned into another model. I forget it now, but they turned into the M8 Softail, like Sport Glide. And then finally we got the ST. But this is kind of the granddaddy to the ST in the modern age. You can obviously go back to the FXRTs and stuff like that, but this is kind of a more modern take. And it finally got to the ST, is what everyone wanted. So sometimes you gotta work through the progress, and well, this is working through the progress. But if you like this video, hit like, subscribe if you're not subscribed. I really do appreciate every single one of you. I want to do more updates on more motorcycles, and of course, watch our videos. It's motorcycle related, and we like to have a good time. And as always, keep it wretched.